Okay, yes, cool. Let's go with it. Recording up, and let's begin. All right, let's get the pen out, and we're good to go. So, taking a look at the ES weekly chart, new all-time high this week, finally, right? Taking out those previous highs again, and getting pretty close to 2950. We're almost up there. You can see that we're running back into some resistance again up here at this long-term trend line. And just a small little pullback, after some resistance, which is totally expected. This 2940 or so, I think, was a fib extension that we talked about in the webinar this week. And that's just hit some little resistance. We should probably, hit some demand someplace back over here someplace, and then, start the rally again. So for now, we're totally long trend uptrend on the longer time frames. So looking for pullbacks into lower time frame demand to join the longs for now. There's just no resistance up there. You could see on Friday, so we sort of had a little trouble up there at the highs. And just a small little pullback, the 60 demand zone is really back over here. And, just this failed hammer situation, even that is up in the air beyond previous highs. So, something that we're looking for a chance to join the longs, just underneath the 50 average. It looks like a pretty good spot. We'll take a look at it on the 15, but that's really it. I mean, we're just looking at a small little pullback and then an uptrend, new all-time highs, no resistance. So there really isn't really much to talk about over here other than, looking for longs at this point. Okay. Down on the 15 chart, I think we had this little level that was finally hit on Friday afternoon, the level that we were talking about for a chance to join the longs was like this thing over here, but it really didn't do much. It was late on Friday. I didn't even take it at that point, especially because we had this little 15-minute already, a little lower downtrend going on with the lower high, lower lows going on, and we're just, channeling down. I sort of like this. This was the lower level of my tweet on Friday, but there's just something just underneath. So I'm sort of like merging these two zones. I think this is the spot where I would be looking to join, a chance on a wick into that. Obviously, this is really nice. Over here, right, this little level over here. So two little chances for, a chance back to the top. And again, if we do hit these levels and then we get up here, we don't make new highs, then we could start talking about maybe getting shorts, because that will create like at least a high on a 60 chart, which we don't even have yet. So for now, it's just, this is the long. That's where it's sitting at, someplace over here. And that's all we're going to do. We're going to sit back and wait for that level to come to us. Okay. That's what we got for ES. The target down here obviously would be, new all-time highs. And if we get up here and we fail, then we should start thinking about shorts. That's what we're looking at over here. NQ didn't look anywhere near as good as ES. The pullback on NQ was much deeper than the ES, and some of the charts are getting me a little worried for longs over here. First of all, we ended up with a doji over here, not really getting above last week's high. Right? There's no new all-time high over here on NQ. Second of all, we got caught up again in the supply over here on this daily chart, and we printed almost twins. If we had any more time left in the day, we probably would have gotten the twins. If you look here, it's like a double top on the 240 chart, 1, 2, the middle being somewhere down under here. So, at least a pullback into this demand, and based on our rules, we should really even be all the way down here. I mean, that's really where the origin of this last rally started from. So NQ is not looking strong at all. If I'm going to be short anything, as far as equities are concerned, it's probably the NQ over here. If we look at the 60, on Friday sort of confirmed the top. Right? Not that we got the higher low, it's only one candle, but you could see that the double top is playing out really well, because this is the second touch up here. And then we got this right here, this wick, rallying back up into the highs and then collapsing. See this? And sort of why I was not happy about taking any longs on Friday for NQ at all. There's a little demand. I'm looking at this doji candle back under here. I know there's one right here, but it's just really close to where we are. So no, again, 7,500, big fat round number. We know NQ likes to overshoot anyway. So if this is really the demand, we might end up over here. After that, it's just big space under here. So, thinking of a long, we are in an uptrend over here on the 60. It just doesn't look great. It looks weak. The 15 actually flipped to a downtrend, so just be careful with any moves on NQ. I'm more likely to take a counter trend short on NQ. And, and then, if I wanted to be long, I'd probably be long the ES. Like if we drop down into the demand zones down under here, if I'm going to take a long, it's going to be on ES. And as we rally back up, I might take the short on NQ because NQ is a lot weaker to me. And those are the levels I'm interested in. You can see over here, there's actually one more supply zone over here. I didn't draw it yet on the 60. This thing over here, it's like this area over here on the 15, around 75,900 to 7,600 even. There's a nice looking supply. We'll determine if we're going to take that as we get down into the lower levels. Okay, but that's what we got for now for NQ. If you have a question, go ahead. Raise your hand up yourself. Otherwise, we're going to move on to crude. Cool. All right, let's take a look at crude. So, what do we get? On the weekly chart, we get a new high as far as the weeklies are concerned, right? We get above these past couple of weeks up here, unable to close up there, little resistance, so it's still looking like over here, this supply zone is sort of playing out. I know it got a little bit above our 71.66 wick, but it was immediately rejected. You'll see the smaller time frames on Friday. Friday was just like a really ugly stop-out move on both sides of this. You could see it over here. We hit the demand underneath us. We hit the supply on top of us, and then we just closed it as a doji, right over here. Sorry, as a twins, not as doji. Bearish twins, actually. So I think tomorrow is the telltale. If we can break this supply zone, we have a chance to run because we've got air above. Look above over here. This is the supply zone that we're looking at, right? This right here. And a bunch of air all the way back to like 75. So there's a chance we get up there. I'm not sure. We'll have to watch and see. I'm still leaning bias short, believe it or not. My bias is definitely to the downside, but I can't take a short yet because it's not within the rules. The 60 chart is still looking like it's in an uptrend, and Friday was just this wicked looking stop out move. The 71.66, you could see the level. What it did, you could see that we've got into this little area under here, these wicks against the wall on the 60. We wicked into that. That's 70. This is 150 ticks in 2 hours, one way or the other, and then we just closed right back in the middle. So that was like the really stop out move. I know there was a little bit of news on Friday and stuff like that, so that's what that was. So this is really starting to look like if we cut the wicks off the news event, that we didn't really go anywhere. We're just stuck waiting to see what happens with this high over here. This one seems to be lower so far, right? Again, excluding the wicks because of the news, and we still need to figure out if we're going to rally or sell off. We don't really know yet, okay? So crude right now is a pause, wait and see. If we do start selling off under here, there's only one little level. It's not even that great. Right, it's just the wick over here on the 15. I'll show it to you. But after that, there's a lot of room down here. So my bias is definitely short, but you just can't take the trade yet. It's not there yet. Okay, we're waiting for it, and hopefully we'll see if it develops this week. Take a look. You can see what I'm talking about. It's like a giant wedge over here on the 15-minute chart. And you can see this wicked-looking thing, right? It's like. My drawing skills are a little off, but you get the idea. Okay, this chop. Okay, there's the push up into the 71.66. Immediate reversal, massive sell off. We get back to the bottom where it started from, and then we just bang around most of the day after that. Just chop around inside this little wedge over here. So there's the demand that we're looking at right around 70. It's actually 60, almost 70, 69, 80, whatever it is, right around there. And then the 71.66, that's the key number, that one up here. As long as we stay underneath this pivot over here, my bias is to the downside. If we get above there, there's a lot of air. I showed it to you already on the daily chart. Okay, so keep that in mind as we get to trade crude this week. This will become a supply zone over here if we start selling off under here. Okay, so it's not there yet. And potentially this may also turn into supply, depending on what this candle looks like over here. All right, so just keep that in mind, but right now it's just not there, so it's not on the chart yet. Started with me so far, so good. I'm doing all right. Moving along. Cool. All righty. Moving on. Gold. So gold on Friday. Let's talk about gold. So I had a wicked move on Friday after a beautiful rally up. Nice strong move, looking like it was ready to pop. We sort of collapsed, and we even broke under 1,200 for a little while. And some of us were able to catch the lows down there on our tweet for the daily levels that got hit. But let's talk about what really happened here. Okay, take a look at, first of all, on the weekly candle, nothing. It's almost identical to the prior week. It's an inside candle, so we didn't really get above the highs and the lows, but it's still this gravestone type candle, right? And that really, looking at this on the daily chart, we're just in this range, banging around in between pretty much this 12, 12, 12, 13 area, which is the supply that's back here, right? And then this higher low that's trying to form around 1200, which obviously is a major support level, okay? And that's all that's really been happened. We ended up with an ugly-looking daily candle with a pretty much massive engulfing. But I want to point out something for a second. I'm going to blow up this. I'm going to show you what I think is actually going on over here. Again, my hypothesis, but let's take a look. Okay. The green moving average over here is the 50 moving average on the daily chart. Okay, we've been trading under this thing for ages, really a long time back here, all the way back till, I don't know when it was. Let's zoom out and see the last time we were trading with a close above the 50 average on the daily chart for gold was sometime, looks like over here, the last time we closed above the 50 average was right over here back in April. Okay, so really a long time. Okay, and then what happens here, take a look. This is actually the first touch of the 50 average. It was like about a week and a half ago, right? Since, again, middle of April, we touched it. Immediately we start selling off. And we don't make a new low over here. We come back, we touch the average again, then we actually pop the average. Look at the last time we actually touched above the average. Friday morning, before the massive sell-off, we were trading above the 50 moving average on the daily chart. Okay? And that has not happened since April. That's the signal for those long-term traders to say, oh boy, this is a chance for me to join this wicked short that's going on over here. Yeah, it almost touched the Bollinger Band, but it did get above the average, okay? Pepe, right? And that's actually the first time. Take a look, okay? So all these guys that are short from back here, or they missed the trade, they're watching this trade, they're looking at this as an opportunity to short, okay? And I think that's what happened over here. We get a wicked collapse, okay? Look at the average. Look at the price of the average. It's exactly where the daily supply is, 12.12. 12.12, 12.13. That's the number that we've been fighting with for a long time, okay? And we get the wicked sell-off, okay? And that's from this higher time frame perspective. But let's keep going for a minute and take a look at what's going on underneath the hood of this sucker, okay? So there's the big collapse, right? This is the push-off. We were channeling up, channeling up, channeling up. This is the 50 average, and we're trading above all of a sudden over here. Right, and we get this big sell-off, and then we stop out all the stops that are under here. Okay, and then we get a big pop, okay, which we're going to look at right now in the lower time frame. Because what we're looking for is to see if this is going to actually hold. If this does hold, the next move up is a monster move. These guys will get crushed. They just tried this short over here, and things are going to just take off at this point. So take a look underneath at the 60. Okay. There's our supply that was formed. There's the level that we tweeted out on, I don't remember it was Thursday, Friday, I forgot already what day it was. I think it was Friday, for the demand that was sitting underneath all these wicks, right, picking up the leg in. We saw what happened, bang, right into the zone, boom, huge pop, a $10 pop out of this demand zone over here. And then we went to sleep really on Friday, and we weren't able to sell off. We tried with the next candle, this red one over here, to sell off and continue down, and we didn't get anywhere near the low, nothing. So, again, it's early in the stages of this level holding, but it's starting to look like it wants to hold. We're going to keep going down, and I'll show you why I'm saying that as we cycle through the time frames, but I'm thinking that we're starting to see, there it is, okay, right here on the 15, this needs to hold for us, okay? So here's the sell-off attempt after the big, beautiful rally. The level on the 15 was even better. How small that zone was, like 6 ticks, boom, we touched the inside, rally straight out of the zone, here, right here, we tried to sell off once, we pushed out, we tried to sell off again, we got a double bottom, right around 1200, look at the number, 1200 being defended, And then we ran out of time over here, but there's just a V-bottom waiting to happen over here. There's just air. There's nothing here. So if we're able to get through this level over here, let's call it this 1204, 05 thing that's going on over here, it's it. We're done. The bottom is in. This was the stop-out move after the 50 average test of the daily, and we're ready to overtake that. Okay? And we should start really thinking about a swing long over here for gold. Okay? If you're not in it yet, you got a really nice opportunity from Friday afternoon. If you were able to hold it over the weekend, good for you. If you weren't, so, you think about entering at some point on Monday and trying to keep your stop somewhere, underneath this demand zone that's going to form when we start to rally over here. Okay, we don't want to see 1200 being tested anymore. This should be the last test of 1200. Let's take the other side of the coin for a minute. If I'm wrong, and this is just the buyers that are trying to defend 1200, then we have an issue breaking down over here because the next one down is going to be pretty ugly. Let's go back to the daily for a second. Okay, take a look over here. Okay, well, if this level does hold and the guys that were shorting over here are correct, okay, off this average, right, that means that this is going to break down under here. We're going to attack this thing. Okay, and that's that wick that we had a couple of weeks back that pushed us all the way down into like the under 70, 1170 something, right? That has a chance to get tested again. So this coming, I would say the next, let's call it 3-4 hours of trading on Monday will tell us really what to expect for gold. If we start breaking down again and we take out the pivot, the low on Friday, this 11, whatever it was, 90 something, 696 or something like that, we take this thing out over here, we're destined to test something all the way down under here. And if that does not happen and we start to rally out, so we're talking about 1250 as the next target up. So really big move in either direction. And this Friday move is sort of telling us, okay, the next leg, whatever happens next is where price is going to go. We've tested the lower side. If it continues, we bounced out really nice. And if we don't continue selling off, that means we're going up. Okay, and this was the 50 average week. These swing guys that are taking the trade over here, and they're just really late to the party. They're about to get run over, and we're going to be up here in a matter of days. Other side is, no, they were correct. And the bounce under here was the people that are trying to defend the 1200. They're going to get crushed, and we're going to end up all the way down under here. So next couple of hours of trading on Monday. Okay, keep your eyes open for an opportunity in gold. Okay. Very nice. Next, taking questions if anyone has. Cool. Next. All right, let's look at the dollar. So the dollar had a very interesting move this week. It got to the target that we were talking about as far as the downside with that, on 93 number. And if you look back on the daily, right, this was the 93 low wick. I took it off already because we closed under the zone. With this big red candle on Thursday, and then Friday we just get the bounce off the demand. I mean, this is a demand zone that we haven't touched since July, so it's quite a while. And we get a decent bounce. I look at it on the 240. We're still in this downtrend. All we did was bounce off the lows. That's all it was. Okay? And we started already turning over on some of the lower time frames. So all that was just, you could see we were outside the Bollinger Bands on the daily, and we've come into demand that we haven't touched in quite some time. And we get a bounce. Fine, that's normal. So it should create a lower highs from what I can tell over here. And we're looking for the dollar to roll over again and to get back down into this level this week. Down here, around 93, all the way down 93. Right? This is 93 and change, this one. And this is like 93 even to consider this demand zone, which is basically this wick of this big monster leg up that started to move into this high peak up here. So I think we're going to test that over here. That's expected to come this week. So we're looking for continued strength, and that's going to help my gold long hypothesis. Okay. So let's take a look at who's got a question there. Mateen, what's up, brother? Click the wrong button, Mateen. Raise your hand again. I'll take your question. Sorry about that. There we go. What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good, Joe. On dollar, there's a Fed announcement, right?
Let's take. I think it's supposed to be on, what is it, Wednesday or Thursday? Let me check. I forgot the day. Let's take a look. The Fed should be Wednesday, I think, this week, right?
So if they jack up the rates, do we expect the dollar still to go
So
down?
that's already. I'll tell you now. I'll tell you. Yeah. So give me a second.
Okay.
Because it's. I'm just going to check the date. The last I looked at it, it should be factored in already for the rate hike.
Oh, okay.
Give me a second. Yeah, I'll tell you right now. So for this coming week, we have. I looked at it on Thursday and then I forgot what day it was. I think it's a Wednesday. Pretty sure. Let's just confirm before I tell you that it is. Yeah, so 2 o'clock on Wednesday is the FOMC statement, okay? That's Eastern time. And we're going to have a press conference, okay, at 2:30. So 2 o'clock is not the end of it. It's more during the press conference because based on the, let's see, the Fed rate monitor is telling us that there is a 98% chance, okay, for a rate hike, okay, quarter point. So it's factored in right now. Okay, so hold on 1 second. Just give me a second. Someone at my door.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You'll
See you tonight. All right. So, showing that there's a 98% chance of a hike. Looks like a 0.25% target rate. Okay, so basically they'll get something in between 2 to 2.25%. So that's factored in at this point with 98%.
Oh, okay.
They've already priced that move in. If we don't get it, it's a bigger problem, right? So let's see what happens. I mean, that being priced in already, so, you know, I think what's going to happen is the FOMC statements and the forward-looking, projections they want to hear from the press conference is what's really probably going to drive the market afterwards. So the actual announcement itself shouldn't have a major impact. Again, there are always lower time frame volatility during that, so be careful. But I think more the press conference will be a bigger price movement statement happening. So keep your eye on that. Okay, but yep, it's on Wednesday. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Hold on a second. Let me go back to get my phone back up there. Cool. Cool. Let's continue. Let's take a look at the euro. So the euro had a pretty rough sell-off on Friday, right? With that move within the dollar. And when we look at it from, you know, the weekly chart, okay, nothing. That little sell-off was nothing, right? With two big, strong candles, the rally-based rally creating the higher low. I mean, this is just screaming 1.2 at this chart over here, right? From this perspective, we've already hit the supply zone here last week. We hit it again this week, and we got even higher. We're watching over here. We've taken out the daily level up here. You can see that, the last supply zone back here. We end up closing above it. And then we get slightly higher. We're outside the Bollinger Bands, and we get a little pullback. I mean, that's absolutely normal, right? Look at the daily, and look at the price action on the 240, right? Total uptrend. We hit some, you know, resistance up here higher, and we just pull back into some demand. That's all that happened. So it wasn't a major destructive move. And then when we start to analyze the candles after that, this looks to me like we're about to set up one of those reversal patterns over here, right? I mean, we have to wait, it has to happen, but we already have the two parts of the ingredient, and then we just ran out of time on Friday. You know, we have the big sell-off, and then we have the gravestone candle, and we start rallying back. So I think we're going to start to see the rallies up here again. I'm still long on my swing trade over here, looking for 1.94 is my exit, actually, for the euro on the swing. Let's continue and take a look at the lower time frames. And here we go on the euro 60. So there's a really nice demand zone on the 15 that will give a chance back into the trade if you're not in it yet. This little sell-off that started up here, okay, gets us back here, and you know, and I don't want to draw the whole leg in just because it gets really big, but there's a really nice demand zone sitting here on the 15-minute chart where all these prior highs are. So we get back into this 50 average test of the 60, and that's sort of where we're hanging, but this is still a bear flag. Over here, it may break down further, which I think it probably is going to do, and land us in the zone that I think is a great spot to try to join the longs over here. And this is what I've gotten for you here. Take a look at this thing. I think this level was actually part of my tweet on Friday, but this thing. Okay, look at the prior high sitting over here. This is the one we're just banging on over here. It's the wicks against the wall on the 15 chart for now. and that's the demand. We've already hit the supply up here, and we tried to sell off. We double bottomed. We couldn't do anything, right? And now we're just flagging out over here. Okay. So we're waiting to see. If we drop into the zone, I think it's something that's it's worth a shot. Okay, keep your eyes open on that sucker. After that, we start rallying out over here. The target is at this point 190. Let's call it 4. Okay? So quite some room to the upside here. So for the euros, trend is still up on the 60, and we're just getting a little pullback. So cool, nothing wrong with joining longs. Aussie dollar didn't have the sell-off on Friday that the euro did. It just dojied out, and we get a wicked reversal out of the twins on the daily, right back to the weekly supply over here. It's not the daily, weekly. All right, looking at the inverted head and shoulders forming on the daily chart. See this? Okay, see it over here? Okay, head and shoulders coming back to the neckline, which is still up here, which means there's still more room. Okay. Let's go take a look at the smaller time frame. You can see there's a little demand on the nice stuff is over here on the 240 chart around 72.50 or so. But this is already looking like it's reversing. You can see these. Look at the candles over here, already starting to move back to the upside again. So again, testing that 50 average up there on the daily for Aussie. So that's going on there. It's what it looks like we're fighting against. And I could see here that we really don't have a great demand zone to join at this point. We're coming up into a little bit of supply at 60. The level that I'd be interested in is all the way back here. You can see how prior highs. And that's it. So, at this point, I'm just hands off on Aussie dollar. If we drop into this thing, I'm interested in the long. Otherwise, we'll wait for the supply to get hit and see if there's any new levels. But joining over here doesn't make any sense. Trend is up. We want to be long. So I'll wait for an entry. Okay. Pounds. What the hell was that? That was just one wicked move on Friday for pounds. Okay. One of the bigger moves I remember in a while for a pound. But look what we got on the weekly chart. That's a pretty ugly bearish candle. It ends up in supply, and we sort of reversed the entire week's move in one day. And we end up with the gravestone at the top, and a massive engulfing candle on the daily chart, pulls back right into demand. But, so it looks really ugly, but when you start to analyze it a little bit, what you see here is that the rally off the lows back here was really a channel. I mean, the up channel is there, the down channel is here too. It's just an up channel. Chop, 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 chop. So finally we got up to some serious supply, and we just chopped right through the channel, back testing into the level of the prior really half decent demand, the one that was pretty strong back here with this big little sell-off, and then the rally retaking it and landing inside the demand zone that has the Bollinger Bands in it on the 240, and then we doji out and we just end the week. So trend is up. This channel was really nice. We just sold off straight off the highs. That's usually the recipe for a chance to join longs, right? So let's take a look and see where we're holding on the 60 chart coming up. So this was the issue. There's really two levels right now underneath us, okay? And the question is, what are we doing with this? Because the 60 now, with this pivot, at least according to my rules, right here and then right here, has turned into a downtrend, right? Push down 3, push up 3, lower high, and then we break the lows. We're looking at a downtrend, and the 50 average is actually confirming that for us here. So we're not looking at a downtrend on the 60, but from the higher time perspective, we're in a chance where we might want to start thinking about getting a long swing trade, because after this prolonged rally up and a strong sell-off, what we're looking for is the bottom to start holding, because anything over here that holds will become that higher low on the higher time frame that we're looking for. Because all this was a channel. It's all one move up, channel, channel, channel on the higher time frame until we get this big sell-off, which we did get on Friday. So the level that I'm more interested in is not actually where we are over here. It's actually a little bit lower down still. It's more around over here. Okay, around the 1035, this little pair of dojis back here. I'm going to show it to you on the 15 that looks a little better. And that's where we're looking for. So in the interim, if I want to take shorts because I'm in a downtrend in the 60, I'm allowed to do that until we have a trouble with the downtrend, which we don't right now, which means the shorts are okay. Taking shorts on a 15 or so, into a supply zone, a rally into a supply like this one is fine, no problem. Right? We rally up into here and you want to take a short, that's fine. There's another level, actually, I should have drawn over here. I didn't do it, so I didn't do my homework properly. Let's put that on there now. I drew the first one on Friday, and then I never came back and did this one, so let's do that one right now. That is the 60 level. This one over here. Oh, okay. And then as far as demand is, let's zoom down a little bit, zoom out a little bit, and take a look. There it is. Okay, so that's the demand zone that I'm looking at a little bit more than the one we're in right now. So, okay, there's one more leg down. And we'll wait and see. If we don't end up under here, right, it looks like 13100, basically this area back here where the level that gave us this big leg up, this thing right over here, this big move, then it was tested and then it made another high again. See that? So that's the one. I mean, that is really the level that got us all the way back to here. So we're looking for this to get tested. Remember that if you want to be long, you have to follow the rules because we're actually in a downtrend on the 60, which means we have to wait for this to start working and create higher lows and higher highs. But that's the one we're looking for. Taking a short over here on a rally up early in the morning, well, whatever, when the trend is still down on the 60 is nothing wrong with that. It's actually a pretty good trade. You can see how much air is up there. So getting up into that level is going to cause a pullback. Okay, so two possibilities here for pounds. Okay, we're looking to join longs from a higher time perspective after the massive sell-off, or the shorts from a short-term perspective, for like a day trade type of thing. Okay, cool. Let's go take a look at what's next on the chart there for us. Canadian, which really didn't have much of a sell-off at all on Friday, even though the dollar was moving around. The Canadian didn't have too much of a rally, just hung out, right? Take a look there. And we get a pair of twins on the daily chart. Canadian, but nothing major. It's, up at the highs, just chopping around over there. Pretty strong looking weekly candle from the 240 chart. We just small little, tiny little pullback, nothing going on. So the trend is still up over here. Nothing wrong with taking longs. Pullbacks into demand are recommended. That's what we're looking at here. So where's the level to join? Let's go take a look. Well, not a good choice, right? On the 60, it's just really choppy, tiny little candles. We already hit the first one, so that really didn't do anything. Right around here, that was that crude news. I think that candle was over there, and chop, and then this one back over here is a nice long wick. So the demand that's way back here, right? We're not even close to it. So that's what we're looking at for Canadian over here. Nothing doing otherwise. Someone's got a question. Let's go take their question. Okay, who's that? That is Louis. What's up, brother?
Hey, John. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
Good question. I know that sometimes you're saying that when you have a big week, that's due to news, to ignore it. So
yep, chop it off. Yep.
I've actually drawn a demand zone on 60 going from 77.
Yeah, so you're cutting off this wick. What this was a news wick? I don't. What was it? You know what it was?
No.
Okay, so make sure it was a news event before you cut it off. I don't remember what it was myself, but if it was, yeah, no problem. So then you can draw the demand zone over here. This looks like if this was Friday, this was Thursday, this was Wednesday. Was there something going on Wednesday morning or whatever time that was, and find out if that was a news event. I don't remember that it was, but it might be. So check it out. If it is, you're allowed to chop it off, and if it's not, obviously you can't. So,
okay. All right. Thanks.
No problem. All right. So really, just a bunch of messy candles on the CD. Right. Take a look over here. There's a small little 15-minute zone that was not hit. But this over here is just untradeable. Right? This is just death. This choppy to death, garbage. Right? There's one little zone over here, right there. You can see what it was, and then we're talking about the wick that Malik is discussing over here. Next. I don't like anything over here. yen. So yen turned over this week. It sold off a little bit. You can see we're breaking down out of this little wedge that we had going on for a while on the weekly chart. We ended up putting in another lower high on the daily with that sell-off over there. Right? So by breaking down under here, this becomes a lower high. You can see it here. So we're back to the downtrend of the 240, and we've got this supply zone sitting right here. So far, they've been working for quite some time, so no reason not to take shorts off of the supply. It looks like 89525 or so. Okay. There's the 60 zone. We've hit some demand, it looks like, and we're getting back to supply. So short in supply is the trade for the yen at this point. You can see where the levels are, 15, and 2 levels on the 15 is a level up there on the 60. And that's what we're looking for now. Just join the shorts, because that's what's been going on for quite some time. The whole week pretty much selling off on the yen. Let's take a look. Yeah, so all the whole week, more than that even. And there's the first supply zone of the 60. Clear downtrend, no question about it. That's where we're going. Right, so take the shorts on the yen. Next. All right, nat gas, time to change my tune. I've been talking about shorts and not anymore. Take a look at the weekly chart. A massive, massive reversal. Not just the reversal, huge reversal with the close almost back to the highs. This is a double bottom, no question about it. Minimum back to the origin is up here, and at this point, more likely that we end up someplace up here at this. So, clear uptrend now forming for nat gas. This little double bottom is already played out, but self back to the origin over here. We had a really nice pullback over here to a small time frame on Thursday. I think that was while we were trading. Hit that little demand zone we had underneath us. We couldn't take it. It was right at the inventory number, but a massive explosive move. And then a confirmation move on Friday with the chance to sell off. Instead, we get an engulfer and banging against, well, that's it. Now we have the higher low hitting against the supply that's at 3. Look at the number. So we're going to pop that thing, and we're going to the next level. So we're looking at longs in nat gas, pull back into demand. We have to switch from our bias. No question about what's going on here. And there's a little demand that we were talking about, I think, on the Thursday. But now we've got a new one with this wick being formed over here. A nice engulfing candle. Looks like the 50 average is totally holding price up. No question about that. And now we're getting a nice little bull flag forming right at the highs, right around 3. That is the recipe for a breakout. Okay, so let's take a look what we've got above us. And where's the zone that's sitting above there? Okay, where's the fresh supply? Oh, it's another 30, 40 ticks at least. Well, actually more than that. It's like 40 ticks or so from 2.98 where we are. We can see that. And let's see, is that level fresh? Doesn't look fresh to me. Looks like we hit it a couple of times actually. Let's see what it looks like and where's the origin of that zone. All right, so it's not as bad. There's actually another zone that looks like just above it. Let's take a look here. Okay, there's the touch. So this is the one that we've sort of gotten to. Then we got this thing up here. So there's really a lot of room on the breakout to the upside. It looks like 40 or 50 ticks. But if we get a pullback first before we break out, I'll definitely be interested in taking the longs. This right over here has got the next level. Supply is coming in around 30, 40 or so. On the 60 chart. So not a major move yet. So that means we probably want to clear that level. If you're talking about a swing trade. If you're just talking about like a, short of one intraday trade, no problem to take the longs, on the breakout. You're going to get 40 or 50 ticks up to the upside. So depending on how you're going to get in, what it looks like. Otherwise, if we pull back into some demand, which we'll find in a minute on the lower time frame, that'll be our target up here. So potentially 100 ticks or so. If we get somewhere around here, around 29.50. We have maybe 100 tick trade to the upside here for that. So let's take a look where the level is. So it looks like we've hit supply, we've hit demand. There's our level on the 15. We're flagging right underneath the zone, right? That's the recipe for the zone to break out, okay? And the demand zone will be over here when it forms. I'm just putting it on now, but that's where we'll be thinking about getting long after we take out the level up above us, right? If we break through the top, so this becomes the demand zone. And we'll look over here to join the longs. right inside this area. It looks like 60 to 70 or so, but not so bad, 12, 10, 11 pips. Okay, so that's not a valid zone for demand just yet because we need to break through this zone first. We're just laying out where it's going to land for us when we break out of here. This is a pretty nice full flag, and I'm fairly certain we're going to break out of the top of this thing, and you can see what it is, right? Over here, right, and we're just consolidating right under the supply zone with strong uptrend going on back here. So let's expect this. Cool. So longs from that gas this week. Nice. And this copper telling us copper had a wicked move this week. Powerful, explosive rally. And take a look where we land. So I tweeted out on Friday we're looking for, V-top on a lower time frame. The reason I was saying that is because this is actually the first supply zone on the weekly chart that we've encountered. And we got a massive move right into the zone. Explosive ERC. We hit the supply. Take a look where we are in the daily. So we put in this little double bottom, and this is, right, the middle, and the origin of the sell-off is exactly where we are. So we get this big-ass move. This is the recipe for a pullback into demand, which should be over here someplace. So we ended up not selling off on Friday, and that doesn't mean we're not going to sell off, now. We ended up right at the supply zone over here on the 240. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a pullback to test this rally. This little breakout move that we just did over here, creating this demand zone, the one that took out the middle, should get a test. Take a look here. This thing should come out over here. Sell off, and then if it holds, then we're talking about, a bigger move. Back again over here on the daily chart. If we're really going to, on the weekly chart, if we're going to rally, we need to pull back and make a higher low. Or test this, test the trend line. And then we'll make the next move up. So I'm still leaning bias for a pullback over here. Even though it's a counter trend move on the 60, I think at this point, it's very likely based on where we are over here that we should see some kind of a pullback. So I don't want to be long. It's a pretty big move. So the short, even though it's counter trend, may be profitable. I'll have to take a look at what it's going to cost to get in and what it's going to look like and how much room there is. But, a pullback into demand is a possibility. As you see, we have all this kind of air. You can see that we've consolidated up here, and we started. It looks like, again, we just ran out of time on Friday. It looks like this is the move I'm talking about. No question about getting long. I would probably even wait for this one to get long somewhere over here. We're in an uptrend on the 60. We're looking for a pullback. We're expecting this, so we're not getting long over here. If we get an opportunity into a short with a, inexpensive entry, something to think about because there is a shitload of air up there that's going to pull back over there based, again, on the higher time frames. It's possible that we pull back all the way to here. The demand on the higher time frame is this zone, 2.7 and change, where we broke out of the middle over here, right? This is the test. So at least I would say, this one is probably where you want to join the longs. That looks to be like the 61 or so on the retracement for the last rally up out of this sucker. Right? Somewhere over here, it looks like about 50, either at least 50 or 61. It's coming in right over here. When we measure it and see what it looks like. But that's where price should be getting to when we're looking for, a chance to join the longs, which means that we're expecting it to actually get down there. So taking a short and, getting out a little before we get there, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, so the 61.8, it's exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, take a look. It's right over here. This area right here, which is the prior high, is actually the 61.8 retracement, right? So based on the higher time frame, they're saying we just exploded up there. We're due for a pullback. That's where it should get to. Create a higher low over here, then we're ready to rally. Okay, so expect weakness and an opportunity to join longs. That's what we're looking at over here for copper. So copper actually has a pretty decent trade over here. You can take a short and aim someplace over here. On the way down, it's a pretty nice looking trade on a counter trend move, and then expect the long to develop someplace over here. Between the 50 and 61.8 fibs, someplace inside this range. This demand zone is looking like someplace right around over here. That's where I'd be looking for a chance to get back in and get long copper. Okay, so early in the week, looking for the short, and then as that happens, oops, I moved my line. As that happens, we'll talk about getting long. So shorts and then longs. Cool. So that's our copper. And soy, we're ready, baby. I love what happened in soy. Love. Fire. Okay. I've been talking about this now, I don't know, I have to go back and listen to the recordings. I think it's at least a month, if not more, for soy. But finally, we get a really nice looking candle on the weekly chart, engulfing twins. Okay? After we push down through the top, we get through the highs, and then we close really nice and strong. All right, so still no higher low, but at least some strength. Okay, and a higher lower time frame uptrend, which hasn't happened in quite some time. All right, and we can see what happened over here. Strong rally off the demand zone of the daily, gets us right back to the supply zone. And instead of selling off, what you would expect, we flag. Take a look. Boom. Flag, 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 flag. And then we close near the highs on Friday. Very strong move, expecting this to break out further. Okay? We want to join a little bit lower down. Somewhere over here is where I'm looking to join this sucker. This is really a rally-based, rally-based rally. No higher low yet on the 240 chart. Right? There is no selling pressure here. This is rally, base, 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 rally, base, base, base. Where are the sellers? They're not, which means they're going to soon attempt a pullback. That pullback will be our trigger for the long trade. Once we see that start to end, right? So I've been trying to get in for 2 days now on the lower time frame. We didn't really get the pullback yet. There's a pretty nice looking level. I'll show it to you. I'm waiting for it to get hit at this point. Okay. Let's take a look. There's our 60. Okay, you can see that we get up into the supply. We don't pull back. There's a bull flag over here. This is starting to break out to the upside. So that level should get taken up. There's a really nice 15 zone over here. Right? And that's the one I'm going to look for. So I've been waiting for it to try to get into this trade. Hasn't been happening yet. So I'll show you the zone. I'm waiting for that to start to play out. But this has now, content, trade over here. What's the trend? Well, it's not really up just yet, right? You know, this is the basing. I mean, we could call this, actually, I take it back. There is a sell-off right here on the 60. There's 5 red candles in a row, and we're now actually up, okay? Right there. So there is an uptrend right here forming, and that was confirmed. The 50 average is also telling us we're up. So pull back into this demand zone that I'm talking about over here on the 15 is the trade for now. Let's go look at it. And I had an order in there for about 2 days. I canceled it. I didn't want to leave it over the weekend. But it's a level that we're expecting to get hit at this point. So this one looks really nice, but that's not the one I was talking about. Take it back. It's not even a 15. It's actually a 5 level. All right? On the 15 is this. This is the first zone over here, this thing. But I think I drew it on the 5. There's actually something over here, right around 836. This is a really big move on either side of this thing. We were in this together for the webinar, and we just got out a little too early, and it never pulled back. I was expecting it to pull back. It never did. It actually just kept going. But we were in part of that long, and then the level was over here. I'll take your message in a second. Let me just blow it up there. Is that where it is? I think I had an order sitting over here. I canceled it Friday. There it is. That's what's up. Yeah, there we go. So I'm looking at this sucker over here for an opportunity to join the longs right here, this thing. Okay. Keep your eye on this, that level. Otherwise, then we're going to get back over here. But if we get all the way up, all the way down here, then we get concerned with, the lower high that's forming over here. So just, watch what's going on. We're looking for longs. Once it triggers, I'll put out a tweet. But that's the trade for now. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Malik. Yeah, that's the level. It was a 5-minute level. Okay. Cool. All right. And what happened on the bonds? Let's take a look. So we do have FOMC, and the team reminded me, thank you, this week. We get a continuation of the selling. This is now a month straight of wicked sell-off, right, on the bonds. Wicked, ugly looking sell-off. And we're straight down over here. Out of my face. Okay, there we go. This. Good. All right. So there's the sell-off. Okay, you can see a big red sell-off over here, and we end up taking out the pivot under here, getting lower, back into demand, and then we just stall. So trend is down. It's been down for a while on the weekly chart. At this point, we're trend down on the daily chart. We're on the 240 chart, trending down, and we're just banging around the supply zone over here. This supply zone has gotten hit once and did not make a new low yet, so it's possible it's going to get popped. Okay, and there is a nice gap of air over here. You can see it. The supply started here. It got hit here once, right here with this wick, and then we sell off and we make the higher low, and now we're just flagging underneath the zone. So that's also a recipe for the level to break, right? And if it does, you can see there's a lot of air over here. So the trend is down, but it's looking like we're sort of building a bottom, right? It looks like the bottom is starting to form. And that's what the 60 looks like. There's the bottom. You can actually see that the low was already tested on the 60 chart, and it's holding, right? So there's the low, there's the test, right? Very clear. Yep. Boom, there's the test of the low. And then right now, with this move down and the higher low and then the higher high, this is actually turned into an uptrend. Right? So this is the level that needs to break, obviously. It's a pretty strong supply zone, and we still have this issue over here. So I'm not excited about anything. I'd like to have these levels cleared out of the way before I start thinking about getting longs into the bonds, especially with the FOMC news coming this week. If anything, we're more likely to try a short someplace over here. If these levels get popped and we just break through here into one of these zones up here, levels to think about getting short. You probably get a decent pullback anyway. We need to come back from a higher time frame perspective and test the lows, because this is just little time frame stuff that we've held the bottom. So with FOMC this week, I'm unlikely to get any bond trades done until we get that out of the way. Okay, and that's what we're looking at for this coming week. I will be out of the office Monday and Tuesday, taking a little private, personal family time. So I don't think you're going to get any tweets from me, but I will be back on Wednesday. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask now. Otherwise, you'll hear from me on Wednesday. Okay. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of the day. Have a great weekend. See you Wednesday. Bye. My webinar will be on Wednesday, 9 o'clock. Okay? Ciao.